All right, welcome to our sign language class. Just give you a brief introduction about ASL, sign language, the deaf culture. So, an interesting, some interesting numbers in the 70s when the book by Kathy Rice was written. She puts a statistic in here and says that the number of deaf in the USA is near the entire population in Canada. Now, I looked up some numbers recently, and so it looks as though, so in Canada, the population there is 35.85 million. That was as of 2015. The deaf in the U.S. now is actually over that at 38,225,590. We have to understand something too about those numbers. They'll say deaf, and I think what they've done is they've included all together hard of hearing, what's called functionally deaf. Some people are born deaf, some people become deaf later in life. That does not mean that all of those people know sign language. So it doesn't mean that you learn sign language and be able to communicate with every single person listed here. ASL users, I've seen numbers, I think Gallaudet put out some numbers that said anywhere from 200,000 to about 500,000 in the USA. I think if those numbers are correct. And also I learned that ASL is used in various parts of the world. Canada, of course the US, South Africa, and different places. I think maybe what has happened is you have people going over to schools and working with the deaf. Well, they bring with them that ASL. And so it's not universal. It's not used everywhere in the world. I wish it was. That'd be easy to hit the mission field and go share the good news. But all that to say, it is very important for us to learn sign language because there are many people who use it. You can communicate with a whole culture. Now, also about deaf culture in the U.S., you might call it capital D deaf, and you'll see it at Gallaudet. It's a subculture here in the U.S. They're proud to be deaf. I know that some people, let's say they, new technology, they get the cochlear implant. Well, that's a wonder of modern technology, but in the deaf culture, many people will be shunned because they got that cochlear. They're thinking, oh, you're not good enough to be deaf anymore, huh? And so just an interesting culture that we need to understand when we're working with the deaf people. Some may be involved in that, steeped in the culture. Others will not be. My wife is deaf, and she's not really in that culture. She knows people who are. She has experienced it, but she was not raised similar. Many deaf have gone off to, the deaf institutes, and they surround themselves with people who know and function in that culture. So they pick it up. And so just something interesting to learn about that. All right, so definitely there's a mission field there. Learning sign language is important to reaching them with the gospel. And then it's exciting for a deaf person when you meet them and you know sign language. And they'll probably begin signing a million miles an hour. You go, oh, slow, please, I'm learning, Now, a couple things about that. You can't put deaf in a box. You can't say all deaf are this way or that way. Some will be excited that you know sign language. Others, they don't care. They'll think, oh, he's English. I don't have time for him. I want ASL. Sometimes they'll be blunt and they'll say, this interpreter is lousy. I want a more skilled interpreter who knows ASL. So, but you can't say deaf are all this way or that way. So keep that in mind. So the deaf here, and probably in your church or whatever, they'll probably be more excited and willing, more than happy to help you learn sign language. So if you go and you meet them, don't be shy. Go up and meet them. Let them know I'm learning sign language. Slow, please. Would you help me? And I think that they'll be excited. They'll be more than happy to help you. So a good place to start is with the ABCs. With my wife and other deaf, they often are able to read lips. Now, don't think, oh, I don't need sign language. They'll just read my lips. Well, if I say, did I say I love you, or I'll have two. So some mouth movements are similar. If you've got a beard hanging down, mustache, covering it up, or if maybe you have a speech impediment, or maybe you move your mouth kind of weird, right? It's going to be very difficult to read. Also, if I turn my head, you can't see my lips anymore. It's going to be hard to read that. And so many deaf have complained that, like in a school setting where it's oral only, teacher turns around and writes on the board, they can't see that. So sign language is important for teaching, communicating with the deaf. And a good place to start is, like I said, with the ABCs. So with my wife, I was saying, if you use the first letter of a word, like for instance, coffee, many deaf, my wife included, will know you're talking about coffee. All right, so we say, you want some coffee? You can use letters to communicate clearly as a beginner, and I encourage you to continue, learn, study, talk with the deaf, and you'll pick it up. But let's go through the alphabet real quick. So first, A, B, C looks just like the letter. D also looks like the letter. Now, you'll notice that my fingers are all down, and I've got just the pointer up, okay? A lot of people get D and F confused. Remember this little saying, fingers fly in F, 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 all right? Let's go back to A, B, C, D, E, okay, F, G. Now this sign is going to be used for other letters, but if you remember, just like you're picking something up, okay, G, you can bend it down and it'll be Q. All right, I'm getting ahead of myself. G, H, okay, you can also go U, all right? So some signs, some letters are similar. So back to H, G, H, I, looks just like the letter without the dot, okay, I. J, you're drawing it. K, this one's a little tricky. If you make a peace sign, all right, move the pointer finger back and the middle finger forward, okay, and then put your thumb right on the knuckle of the middle finger. That's K, and that can also be used for P, all right? So we got K. L looks just like the letter. Some people ask, can I do left or right? Yes, you can. I always use my right. From your perspective, you can see the L. It looks like an L. Now, if I sound like this, from my perspective, it looks like an L. From yours, I don't know what it looks like, a backwards L. So I just use the right hand. You can use both, okay? Preferably not at the same time. L. M. Am I going in the right order? Yes. All right, M. Now, you can see, if I draw an M, it's going to be 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 times down. And that's what the M looks like in sign language. Now, the N is similar. If I'm going to draw it with a pencil, I'm going to go 1, 2 times. So that's N as opposed to M. Okay, N. Now, O is very easy. It's just you're drawing the picture in the a picture of the O in the air, basically. All right. Now, the P, you remember, it's an upside-down K. You can actually see the letter right there. Okay, so if that helps you, you can draw it with your thumb in your middle and the pointer out there. K and P. All right. And then Q, you remember, is a downward pointed G. Q. R. Okay, you're going to take those fingers and wrap them. Okay. R. Then S. And you'll notice that probably 90% or more of my letters, my palm is facing the person with whom I'm communicating. So S, palm out. I wouldn't do this for S. Okay, that's probably not going to be communicated clearly. S, T. I think of this as being the vertical portion of the T, and you got to cross it. So there you go. T. Okay. U. Again, it's an H, but inverted. U. And then V, just draw it Open it up. There it is. W. Okay, don't sign the number 3 like this. Okay, 3 is with your thumb and these 2 fingers, but this is W. If you say 1, 2, W, they're not going to understand, all right? They will, but they'll know you're a poor signer. So this is W. All right, X. No idea why that's X, but that's X, okay? It's like a pirate hook. And then Y. That's an easy one. Okay, you can see the Y here, and my hand is the extension. Here's an interesting tidbit. You remember this is I, and this is L, and this is Y. Now, if I sign all 3 letters at the same time, what do I get? I, L, Y, I love you. Isn't that neat? All right, so you got Y, X, Y, and Z. You're just going to, with your pointer finger, you're going to draw it in the air. All right, let's review. I'm going to go a little fast. I'll use both hands. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Now I know my ABCs. All right, next time, sing with me. So now you know, practice, practice, practice. If you master the ABCs, that will help you. Just because you know sign language does not mean you'll never use the letters, the ABCs. Often there will be signs, there'll be words. There'll be words. There is no sign. Maybe a town name. I don't know it. I'm going to finger spell it. My name, okay? I'm going to finger spell it. CJ, or whatever it may be. Sarah, or Jim, James. You don't have a sign for that. Sign names are something we'll talk about later. But you want to spell, you want to master the ABCs. You can communicate clearly and use the alphabet to ask a deaf person. That's the best way to learn. Go up to a deaf person and say, hey, I'm learning sign language. Can you show me the sign for cat? Spell it. They'll show you the sign, cat. Now you can practice the sign. So ABC is very important, like any language. So learn it, practice it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.